We continue our coverage of the deadly ambush of police officers in downtown Dallas now. They were shot during a protest against this week's police killings of 2 black men in Minnesota and Louisiana. With us from Washington is NAACP President and CEO Cornell William Brooks. Mr. Brooks, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I want to get your reaction to what happened in Dallas.
It is absolutely horrific. There are many people in the world who would find it ironic that you have 5 police officers who lost their lives beside people peacefully protesting against police misconduct. The fact that they gave their lives for their fellow citizens, for civilians, for this country speaks well of their character as police officers. It speaks well of the Constitution. It speaks well of our country, even amidst this grief-stricken moment.
You have 2 very separate issues happening here that are both tragedies. We as a nation have become so divisive in terms of how we're talking about both of these issues. What's your response?
Well, it's clear that we can appreciate and have respect for the work that law enforcement does day in and day out, where they put their lives on the line for their fellow citizens, even as we hold them to the highest standards of accountability. So we can grieve for the loss of their lives, but we can also grieve for the loss of the life of Mr. Castile and Mr. Sterling and their families. These 2 things are not mutually exclusive. At the end of the day, and as we have said over the course of at least the last 2 years, that our lives matter, whether your skin is black or your uniform is blue.
The Washington Post investigation found that 105 fatal shootings by police have been captured on camera. What do you think that says about the state that we are in, that people feel as though they need to record these incidents?
It says that we have a country of our fellow citizens who are living in fear and apprehension because of a minority of officers who defile the profession by their conduct. It speaks to the apprehension among our citizens who understand all too well that when you as an American are wrapped in white skin, it is a cloth, if you will, of respectability and credibility, a flak jacket, if you will, that protects you. If, on the other hand, you as an American wrapped in black or brown skin, it is a cloth of vulnerability or victimhood. We have to respond to the problem, not with hand-wringing, but with policy. And what that means at the federal level certainly is passing the End Racial Profiling Act. It means passing the Law Enforcement Trust and Integrity Act. It means establishing a national standard for excessive use of force. It means showing up at the polls in November and voting for the kind of protection at the polls that you expect in the streets.
This isn't exactly, though, a new issue. We've been talking about this over and over and over again. Why can't we get anything done?
Well, we have to develop the political will to do that. One of the things I take heart in is that the NAACP came into being in the last century to combat a form of racialized violence called lynching. We brought it to an end. We, in this century, face a form of racialized violence called police misconduct. We can, when we will, when we purpose within ourselves to do so with a strategy and a plan, bring police misconduct to an end. We can do that. There are cities that have done it. There are cities that have gotten it right. We can, in fact, do this better across the country. We have to do it at both the federal level and at the state and municipal level.
Cornell, I know you're the father of 2 sons. I wonder how you talk to them about not only what happened in Minneapolis and Baton Rouge, what you say to them after that, but then also what you say to them after what happens in Dallas, or what happened in Dallas last night.
Like a great many African-American parents, my wife and I had the talk, as we call it, with our sons. And the talk was not about the birds and the bees, but rather the police and civilians and how they interact. We will also talk with them about Dallas. What we will say to them, as we have said to them, is in the same way that you do not judge all African Americans in a stereotypical way, or Latinos or Jews or Gentiles or any group in the country, we cannot judge law enforcement through the prism of stereotype or generalization. That being said, law enforcement is in a state of crisis. Racial profiling is real. Police misconduct and police brutality is real. So we say to them, be hopeful. Be confident about our ability to affect change, but also be vigilant and be aware that we face a crisis in the country.
All
That's
right,
what we will say to them.
Cornell William Brooks, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.